Okay, this is a day trade recap. Today is July 1st. Happy July. And I worked with 4 stocks this morning. So far I've taken 6 trades. Most of them were early, very early. I'm starting earlier now because pre-market's heating up. There's things popping on my scanner and I just jump in and take it to my target. So let me start with WNW. This is a Chinese stock. I generally don't like to trade Chinese stocks for various reasons. Just crazy. But, there was enough volume on this. There was nothing else going that early in the morning. Saw it at 5:36 my time, Mountain Time Zone. I quickly drew my target line. It had support here, which was good, and my target was here. So I saw it on this candle right here, and my target was going to be $9.91. I got in at $9.34. So, it wasn't a huge trade, but it did work out, and it usually will doing it this way. So I just jumped in really quick and took it my target, right? I saw that it had support, and that's all I needed to know, and I knew that it was going to go to the target. So I made, what was it, 73 cents a share. I went light on my share size for this one, only like 1,000 shares. It was enough volume for that, but being Chinese and being a lawsuit stock, I just decided to go light on my share size, plus it was early. So that was enough of that stock, and then what did it do? It just sold down. But sometimes these lawsuits will give you a little pop, and then they will drop and stuff like that. So that's how that one worked out, and that was at 5:36. It only took me about 8 minutes to take that trade, maybe 10, I can't remember. Then I had to wait, and MEDS, which is a stock that I have worked with previously. So I already had lines on here, and this one popped up at around 6:30 this morning. I saw it at 6:36, so exactly an hour after my other one that I noticed. So, sometimes you have to wait a little while, but that's fine. I look at stuff in between and I decide, is it going to work out now? So I just prep for the next one, look for the best. This one was making a hard push. I saw it above my target here, which usually a lot of times, and most of the time, after they push through a target, they're going to come back and bounce and maybe continue or just sell. But this one was showing so much strength. Everything was continuously pointing up. Huge strength right there. So when I saw it at, what time was it? 6:39 this morning, which was this candle. I actually, had to verify my target lines and stuff. And then I wasn't really sure what it was going to do past the target here. So I actually got in on this, where this tail came down and then continued. So I got in at, what was my pricing? My price was $6.94. So yeah, right, kind of low on that tail. And then my target, I knew, was $8.29. So that's not a bad range, 694 to 829. So that's why I took it. I had plenty of room, plenty of continuation. And so then after it hit this level, I had to see what it was going to do, because I drew this little dash line, which is soft resistance, and it was so close to this line so I got out on this candle right here because it was going through my target. And then it kind of sat right there. You see that? It just sat right there. And so I was looking for it to, at that point, I knew that, hey, it has to get above these lines that I drew, right? This purple dashed and this yellow target line. I mean, that was pretty obvious. Do you see how I see that? Because it was treating that as a resistance level. So I thought, okay, I'm going to wait. I had this big push through both of those lines, and so I got again on this next candle, which gave me a little bit of a discount. I didn't have to buy at the top. I got down a little bit lower, and that was great. So I got in on this trade. I got in at what was it? It's 850. I'm sorry, it was hard to see my thing. 850, and then I knew my target was 949, so almost another dollar there. And it just marched right on up. It played it really, 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 really well. I mean, it took forever though. I mean, I was a little surprised because this is a low float, and it took forever, but it hit it. Now this was funny because I knew this line was going to be significant. I didn't even know what the news was on this one until about here, because I kept checking for headlines. I jumped in before I even knew there was news over here. Okay. I jumped in, and why did I do? Normally, I like to see, well, why is it moving? But there was so much volume here. I thought, well, somebody knows something. So I got in without worrying about spending time researching it. I just thought, oh, there's so much volume. It's going to hit the target. I'll worry about news later. And here I had all the time in the world to look at news. I had like 10 minutes to go find news, and I still didn't see any. And then when it was flat after I got in again, I was looking for news, and then I saw it, and I thought, okay, we're going to go for this target, no sweat. And then it tagged it. I got out, tagged it, and tagged it, and then it came down, tagged it, and then as if I can't get above this level. Isn't that funny? This line was so dead on, and I've had this line on here for, I can't remember, it's been a while since the last time it ran. I'd have to go look at the daily chart. I guess I can go look at the daily chart really quick and see when it ran last. Okay, here's July 1st, this big day here, like a couple of weeks ago. So it's been a while. But it does. Do you see that big candle? It can spike this thing because it's a low float, right? So anyway, that's all I did on that one, those two trades there, but they were good. I was trading a couple thousand shares, so it worked out really, really well for that one. Then came, okay, so now we're after bell, right? So then I'm looking for whatever else I can get, and MRIN was, all over my scanner at this point, and it's a stock that I've worked with a lot, okay? I'm really familiar with this stock. So I already had my lines. I just, look at my daily chart just to make sure they're still good. And turned out I had to keep widening these lines. They're still based on the same points, but I had to widen them. I mean, if you look at it, here's a $12 line all the way up to an $18.55. Huge range, right? They didn't start out that way back last week or whenever it was. But they are that way now because a couple days ago or whatever it was, a few days ago, earlier this week, the Reddit crowd, they're a pumper dumper type group. They like to find high short interest stocks to just push them through on a short squeeze. Well, this stock, in my opinion, doesn't qualify for a high short interest. It has relatively short interest on it. Small short interest on it, but this one makes sense to me. I was glad to see that they were interested in it because they're never interested in a decent stock. This one has a huge gap on the daily chart that eventually it will fill. It's kind of at a critical level right now, but it'll get beyond and it'll continue to push. But I guess they saw that gap, and it had news a while back, or a few days ago, and so ever since then they have been just pushing this thing. So it's fun because I have to keep, the minute they grabbed it, the range widened. So I changed my lines, and when you're good at working with these lines, you'll understand how to change them, even though you're not really changing them, you're just widening them. So if you need any help with that and understanding how that works, just let me know. Reach out to me and I'll give you some guidance on that. But anyway, so let me get with the initial trade on this stock. So it was moving, and I was done with the other trade, so I came over and I looked at this one, and here was a halt, right? And so I'm sitting here going, well, it's got room to this line. I think I'll get in on the candle outside that halt, and I bet it'll give me a discount. So it was pushing really hard. There was pretty good range. Most people are scared of the range, but if you get in on a dip candle, you're going to get a really good price, and it'll give you a chance to make it to your target. I had this little dash line, which is soft. Did you see how that wick tagged that? That was bullseye right there. But I got in low, and it came down to my 2 EMA, and nobody uses 2 EMA but me. I'm one of the weirdos, but it works for me. Do you see how that candle sat right on my 2? And made it to my target. So I sold into strength on that candle. It only took me a couple of minutes, but this candle right here was a halt. So I had to wait for another halt. Got stuck in that, but I knew I was going to get out on this at this line. So I had perfect clarity. And I was not worried. This is a target line. I wasn't going to try to push it to the next line. I just wasn't really sure why they were moving it today, other than it had a couple of days off. And I guess either people were, the shorts were closing their position, and then the Reddit group just jumped on that and pushed it up. But, that wasn't bad. I was able to make a couple dollars or whatever it was getting in at, so what was it, 16.05, and my target was 18.55. So I did really well on that trade. And then, okay, let me show you what the shaded area is, because this is a lot of fun, and this is what not very many people even dare do. But when it went flat after that, there was still really good volume throughout here. See these? So I just love to draw these little boxes. This is where I can range trade. I'll buy low and sell at the top of the box. I'll look for a nice buy signal low and sell at the top of that box. Once I've identified a range, which usually is going to be, wherever it broke support, which it broke support here, and then, down to this 50. So it was between my 20 and my 50, basically, more or less. But I just kind of shaded that general area. It wasn't exact, but it was really close. I told myself I would use the top part of the box to get out. So it took me a minute to identify. I didn't do this one, but I traded here and I traded here. So, this was a dollar range. This was a dollar range. Getting in at 16.05, getting out at 17.25, and getting in at 16.31, and getting out at 17.18 or wherever it was I got out there. So, generally speaking, and you can adjust the box as you need to, but at some point it's not going to go flat forever, right? At some point it's either going to break out or break down. And so monitoring and continuing to watch a stock that has volume. I mean, the volume is still pretty much here. It's starting to die off on the red side, but it may continue to go up at some point. But in the meantime, there's range, $1 each time it does one of these dumb little waves, and I just jump in at the low, and when I have a really good buy signal, I just get in and go to my box. I'm at the top of my box, and that's one way to trade a range. It's a little advanced because you have to be able to know, is there enough volume for me? And you have to know your range, okay? But, I mean, obviously, this is really obvious. Somebody would look at that and say, oh, it's not doing anything. Well, it is. There's a lot of movement in here. Lots of movement in here. So, if you need help with any of this, I made a couple of trades, a couple $1,000s after it. So I'm up $12,000 on the day. I made those pre-market and that one after bell and then this one. And then these other little scalps. I call these scalps. Whenever you're range trading, you're basically just scalping. So, anyway, if you need any help understanding how to pick a strategy, how to get these lines on here, because they will really, it's a game changer. And this is something I have developed. This is, I manually draw these lines on here. But once I've got them on, they're going to be good for a trend. And then once the trend reverses, then you have to reanalyze. And it only takes me a few seconds, a couple of seconds to get these lines on here. I'm that good. I have a few tools that help me just at a glance know where to put them. But yeah. If you need any help with that in these chart settings, these beautiful signals that help you and understand how to draw in, I manually draw this box. If you need any help with that, reach out to me on my website, momentumstocktraders.com, and I would be happy to guide you through that. Just let me know. But anyway, I hope this video was not too rambly, and I hope it was helpful. I hope you gained some value out of it. If you have any questions, let me know, and we will talk soon.